the 1940s. A time of trench coats, fedoras, and everyone smoking like it was a full-time job. But also a time where detectives solved crime with nothing but their wits, a notepad, and the belief that the suspect was lying.
You fuck young boys, Valdez. Are you a madman?
Have you ever fancied swapping your everyday routine for the thrill of solving some of the most intense and confusing cases ever made, whilst also getting into fast-paced car chases and shootouts? Well, with this game, it lets you live out that fantasy to the fullest. This is LANoire. Now, this game was made all the way back in 2011, and for some reason, Rockstar never actually officially confirmed its full sales figures for this game, which I don't really understand because it's estimated this game sold 8 million copies, which is just nuts. And at the time of this game's release, it was just completely unique. There wasn't another game like it, so maybe this game just didn't do as well as they hoped. And I've got to say, it's probably one of the best detective games I've ever played. Like, the facial feature technology is just game-changing. And the fact you've actually got to pay attention to the person's facial expressions when they're telling you information, just to see if they're withholding anything or lying to you, just adds a complete another layer of difficulty and realism, because I assume that's how it is in real life. And this game does a fantastic job at keeping you immersed within its story. When you're driving from case to case, the characters actually interact with each other, talking about past and present cases, which I just think is a cool feature. So without further ado, let's get into the story. So as I said earlier, this game was set in the 1940s, just after World War II, and you play a character named Cole Phelps, who is also a combat veteran, as well as a policeman who's an aspiring detective. You and your partner are patrolling the mean streets of LA when all of a sudden, you get a radio call.
KGPL calling car 14 Adam. 14 Adam, come in.
Go ahead, KGPL.
14 Adam, see the detective, an ambulance shooting at 6th and Industrial Street. Unit 16 William requests uniform assistance for an evidence search. 14 Adam, code 2.
Roger, 14 Adam en route.
And just like that, you're on your first case. I remember racing over there the first time I played this game because I was that excited to get started. But when you actually get there, you find that the detectives are not interested in this case at all.
Give it your best shot, guys. The dead guy's a lowlife. I'm not expecting any miracles here.
And if we recover the weapon?
Bag it and return it to technical services.
You hurry it up, Floyd. We
I'm
got
outta
places
here.
to be.
Happy hunting.
So with no help from your detectives, you're literally on your own. But this mission is just a tutorial mission, and it's actually very well done because it just gets you used to the mechanics of the game. But even though you're being taught how to properly investigate and what items are important and not, it hardly takes you away from the immersion, giving you the information you need to progress in cases without actually making you realise, oh, I'm playing a game, which I think is very clever. But anyway, you end up finding the murder weapon because of the reflection in the window. So you find a way up the building to go and retrieve it. And to investigate the object, you've actually got to use your mouse or your analog stick to move it around to find any useful information you can, where you actually find the firearm serial number. And you even go as far as to opening up the cylinder to see how many shots were actually fired.
2 rounds fired. And instead of dropping it down a drain, our shooter hoists it up here. Interesting guy.
And after finding the murder weapon with the serial number, you head to the gun shop to see if you can verify the owner. And this is where it gets interesting because you have to physically go through the records to find the gun matching the murder weapon's description. And I think that's a really immersive addition to the game, having to actually go through the records with your own eyes to find the information. It's just really in depth. But once you've found that information, you say ta-ra to the gun shop owner and you actually go and pursue the owner of the gun. And of course, it ends in a struggle. Now, your partner gets decked, but you give him the old slip and football factory headbutt. And with that, you've officially arrested your first suspect. And that concludes the LANoire tutorial. And I just think it's just a really well-made tutorial mission. You barely lose immersion throughout it. And I actually had a sense of relief knowing I caught my first murderer. But what I didn't know is how unique each case really is. And some even leave you scratching your head in bed at night thinking, where did it go wrong? But even as you progress throughout the story, you really learn who Cole Phelps is, a disciplined cop with a strong sense of duty. And the more you play the game, the more you can actually connect with Phelps. And the game does an amazing job of showing the human side of the character, which shows his vulnerabilities and internal conflicts, which also tells us that the developers actually cared about making the character connect with the player. And the fact that they've actually added a lot of depth to Phelps just makes him more of an authentic person, which obviously makes it easier for the player to connect with. Now, graphically, it does look a little dated compared to the other games that were released at the same time, like Uncharted 3, Gears of War 3, and even Battlefield 3. And if you are trying to get immersed into a game, I do think the graphics are important because otherwise you don't feel like you're actually there. And the only way for them to keep immersion is if the storyline is just absolutely unbelievable. And this is where LANoire steps in because the storyline massively makes up for the graphics being slightly dated. And what I will say is don't let the graphics put you off of playing this game because you'll just be missing out on an absolute gem. never judge a book by its cover. But I will say the general movement does feel quite clunky and linear, because when you're moving, it kind of feels like your character's covered in syrup, if that makes sense. And what I mean by that is it doesn't feel like you're flowing. It feels more two-dimensional, and it only feels like you can move in 45-degree angles and not a full 360 degrees, if that makes sense. And I will say the combat is very fun. It's very intense, especially when you're facing multiple suspects, and just getting the killing blow does feel satisfying because it's quite difficult to control the recoil of some automatic weapons. And the driving in this game is actually decent compared to the movement. The vehicle pursuits actually keep you on the edge of your seat, and my personal favorite is when you're after the case of the street racer. And the way the cars fall apart when you hit them is actually pretty entertaining. But I've got to say, GTA 4 was released in 2008, and GTA 5, that was released in 2013. This game was released in 2011. And if you compare this game to GTA 4, my question is, what went wrong? I mean, if you put this game in GTA's engine, it would be absolutely unbelievable. And it's hard to believe that GTA 5 was made 2 years after this. I don't know, maybe it was made by a completely different team within Rockstar, but I feel like they missed the trick. If they actually made this game with GTA's engine, it would be on the same level as GTA, in my opinion. But I can't help but think Rockstar wants to partially forget about this game, because there hasn't been any rumors of a remake with modernized graphics, which I know will go down massively, as it was a fairly popular game when it was released. And the fact that they haven't released any sales figures of this game is also, to me, a way of trying to hide something. Maybe this game just didn't do as well as they hoped. I mean, after all, this was more of an experiment for Rockstar. But there was also some controversy behind Team Bondi, the primary studio behind LANoire, where they faced allegations of poor working conditions and management issues. But remember, it's allegations. I just think Rockstar wanted to distance themselves from the controversy and continue making amazing titles, which many of us grew up playing. And with that, we move on to our replayability rating. And I will say, this game does have an amazing storyline, and it's completely unique to what is currently out in the market even now. Even though the movement isn't the greatest and can be quite frustrating, which is obviously a big part of the game, I'm going to give this game a 4 out of 5 because realistically the story carries it, in my opinion, and the fact there's no other game like it in the market right now really makes this game a one of a kind. You really need to rack your brain when it comes to figuring out some of these cases, which is exactly what you want from a game like this. And personally, this goes down as an all-time favorite for me because I once had dreams of becoming a detective when I was a kid, and this game was the perfect fit for that inspiration. But I'm wondering, what was your favorite case in this game? Because mine had to have been the Fallen Idol. Seriously, the case just felt so real. I could actually imagine the things going on in this case to have happened in real life, which is absolutely terrifying. And another one, why hasn't anybody made a game to compete with this one? I mean, the technology we have nowadays could literally blow this one out the water, especially with the rise of AI and companies like Faceware Studio. But the fact that there isn't makes me think Rockstar may have some form of copyright so that nobody really makes a similar game. And obviously, I don't know if they do. It's pure speculation. But if they have got something like that, it just hurts the gaming industry in the future because we lose out on playing such amazing games. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, give us a little like. And we are so close to 500 subs, it's absolutely unreal. So if you got any free time and you do like the videos I'm producing, give us a little sub. It's absolutely free. Cheers for watching. I really appreciate it, and hopefully I'll see you in the next one.